My dear listener, I want you to pause for a moment and think about something very simple yet very powerful, something that touches each of us every single day, and yet is so easily overlooked in the routines of life, especially as the years pass by. And that is the simple act of washing our body, of cleansing not just for the sake of appearance, but for the sake of health, dignity, and longevity. For you see, there are 5 areas of the body which, if cared for daily with proper washing, can truly contribute to a longer, healthier, and more comfortable life. And yet many of us, especially in older age, tend to neglect them, not out of carelessness, but simply because we do not realize how important they are, how much impact they have on our overall well-being, and how easily small habits can grow into life-changing differences. Let us take this journey together, gently and thoughtfully, and imagine ourselves walking through each of these 5 body parts, learning why they matter, how neglecting them can quietly cause harm, and how washing them daily can bring not only freshness, but also an extension of vitality. Because longevity is not always about medicines or expensive treatments, sometimes it is about the little acts of self-care, repeated every day with consistency and love. So let me guide you through this, beginning with a part of the body most of us hardly think about in this way: the scalp and the hairline. The scalp, that hidden skin beneath your hair, is a world of its own, constantly producing natural oils, constantly in contact with sweat, constantly renewing itself by shedding tiny cells you might recognize as dandruff. And yet, because it is covered by hair, we often forget to treat it like skin. We forget that it breathes, that it needs cleanliness just as much as our face or hands. And when we neglect it, dirt, oil, and dead skin cells accumulate, creating a breeding ground for bacteria and fungi that can cause itching, infections, and even lead to more serious conditions if left unchecked. For the elderly, whose skin tends to thin and whose circulation weakens, this neglect can cause even more discomfort, sometimes leading to sores or infections that take longer to heal. But washing the scalp daily, even gently with mild shampoo or simply massaging warm water into it, not only removes buildup but also stimulates blood flow, bringing oxygen and nutrients to the scalp, refreshing the brain through improved circulation, and providing a sense of relaxation and peace. Because as many studies show, scalp massage lowers stress and enhances mental clarity. And stress, as we all know, is one of the hidden thieves of longevity. Imagine an elderly man standing at his sink, softly massaging his scalp, not hurriedly but gently, feeling the lather loosen the oils, rinsing away the dead skin, breathing in deeply as the water trickles down. This is not just hygiene. This is medicine through ritual, and it is one of the simplest ways to invest in extra years of comfort and vitality. And yet the scalp is only the beginning, because right below it lies one of the most neglected areas in the entire body, one you may not even remember unless reminded. And that is the space behind the ears. Ah, the humble spot behind the ear. How often it goes unnoticed, hidden from mirrors, rarely touched. And yet it collects sweat, oil, and dirt every single day. This small fold of skin, warm and moist, becomes a perfect hiding place for bacteria. And though it might seem insignificant, the truth is that infections often begin in such neglected corners. And for the elderly, where immunity may no longer be as sharp, even a minor infection can spiral into greater complications. Washing behind the ears daily, with nothing more than warm water and gentle soap, not only prevents buildup but also eliminates odor that others may notice before you do. For yes, this is one of those areas where neglect can create a subtle smell, one that can chip away at confidence and dignity. Imagine the quiet pride of knowing you are clean in every corner, that you smell fresh, that your presence is comfortable to those around you. And realize that such dignity is part of living longer, for emotional well-being and social connection are deeply tied to health. When you reach behind your ear with a soapy hand, you are not only washing away oil, you are washing away the possibility of embarrassment, the possibility of infection, and you are reminding yourself that you are worthy of care in every detail. Now, moving lower down the body, we arrive at a part that is both obvious and often taken for granted. The underarms, those small but powerful centers of sweat and heat, which for most people produce the most noticeable body odor when neglected. And yet odor is the least of the problems here. The underarms are home to apocrine glands, sweat glands that produce a thicker type of sweat, rich in proteins that bacteria love to feed on. And when not washed away daily, these proteins become fuel for bacterial colonies that multiply rapidly, producing toxins, smells, and sometimes even skin irritation or infection. For the elderly, whose skin barrier may be weaker, and whose mobility may make thorough washing more difficult, neglecting the underarms can lead to chronic irritation, rashes, or fungal infections that spread and cause unnecessary suffering. Washing the underarms daily with mild soap clears away sweat, bacteria, and dead skin, allowing the skin to breathe, reducing the risk of irritation and restoring comfort, while also ensuring that the body does not carry unnecessary toxins on its surface. Think of the elderly gentleman who carefully lathers his underarm each morning, or the elderly woman who takes a moment to gently cleanse her skin there. And realize that this daily act is not just about cleanliness. It is about reducing stress on the immune system. For every bacterial load washed away is one less burden on the body's defense. And beyond health, there is also dignity again. Because odor can push people away, can create distance in relationships, while freshness draws people closer, and human closeness, love, and connection are themselves medicines that extend life. Now let us go even deeper, to the most delicate and often most uncomfortable part to discuss, but perhaps the most crucial to wash daily, and that is the groin area. This is the meeting point of heat, sweat, friction, and sensitivity. And in both men and women, it is the perfect environment for bacteria and fungi to thrive if hygiene is neglected. For men, sweat and oils around the genitals can build up, leading to itching, irritation, or infections, while for women, poor hygiene can increase the risk of urinary tract infections, which in older age can quickly spread to the kidneys and become dangerous. The groin must be washed daily, gently, and respectfully, with lukewarm water and mild soap, never harshly, never with strong chemicals, for the goal is not to strip, but to balance, to keep the area clean, fresh, and free of organisms that can cause disease. For the elderly, this habit can be the difference between comfort and weeks of discomfort, between health and infection, between dignity and embarrassment. Imagine an older woman who takes the time each evening to wash her groin, then dries it gently with a soft towel, knowing she has protected herself from irritation and infection. Or imagine an older man who feels cleaner, fresher, lighter after washing this part of his body, ready to face the day with confidence. And realize how such simple actions can preserve not just health but also the spirit. And finally, we come to the feet and toes, perhaps the most underappreciated part of the body, and yet one of the most important to wash daily if one wishes to live longer. Our feet carry us every step of the way. They support us through life, and yet they are often neglected, hidden away in socks and shoes, sweating, collecting bacteria, and vulnerable to fungal infections such as athlete's foot or toenail fungus, especially in the elderly where circulation to the feet is reduced. Washing the feet daily, especially between the toes, removes bacteria and fungi, reduces odor, prevents infections, and improves circulation, especially when combined with a gentle massage. For seniors, this can be life-changing. For foot infections, if left untreated, can spread and even lead to more severe complications, particularly in those with diabetes or poor circulation. Imagine the relief of soaking tired feet in warm water, of gently washing away the dirt of the day, of massaging the arches and toes until the blood flows more freely, of drying them carefully with a clean towel, and realize that this is not just washing, it is healing. It is extending mobility. It is preserving independence. Because when the feet are healthy, the whole body can move, and when the body can move, the spirit remains young. Now you may see how these 5 parts, the scalp, the space behind the ears, the underarms, the groin, and the feet, though they may seem small, though they may seem ordinary, are in fact powerful keys to longevity because they are gateways through which bacteria can enter, through which discomfort can grow, through which dignity can be lost, and when they are kept clean daily, they become sources of health, of comfort, of pride, and of life itself. And as we think more deeply about these 5 vital areas, let us understand that washing them daily is not just about scrubbing away dirt. It is about embracing life itself. It is about choosing each day to honor the body that has carried you through decades, the body that has worked tirelessly through your youth, your work, your parenting, your struggles and your joys, and now, in the later years of life, this same body asks for gentleness, for attention, for care in the small details that keep it strong and alive. Longevity is not a secret potion or a miracle pill. It is the art of making simple actions sacred, of repeating them faithfully until they become the rhythm of health itself. Washing the scalp each day is not merely about removing oil. It is a message to your brain that you value clarity, relaxation, and peace, and the gentle massage of fingertips across. The hairline is a signal to your nervous system that stress can melt away, that tension can be released, and that mental sharpness can return. Washing behind the ears daily is not simply about preventing odor. It is a quiet promise to yourself that no detail is too small, that your dignity will not be left behind in the folds of forgotten skin, that you will remain fresh and confident no matter your age. Cleansing the underarms is not merely about avoiding sweat. It is about lifting away the burden of toxins that weigh on your immune system. It is about giving your body a lighter load, so that your defenses may remain strong in the face of time. Washing the groin each day is not simply about hygiene. It is about safeguarding one of the most sensitive and vulnerable parts of your body, protecting it from the infections that could rob you of peace and energy, and doing so with the awareness that this part of the body, though private, is as deserving of care and respect as the hands or face. And washing the feet daily is not merely about scrubbing the soles. It is about honoring the journey they have walked, the weight they have carried, the balance they have maintained, and ensuring that even in later years, they remain strong enough to keep you moving. For movement is life, and immobility is the quiet thief of longevity. So often people imagine that living longer means adding years at the end of life. But the truth is that real longevity means adding life to every year. It means waking up fresher, walking lighter, thinking clearer, and feeling prouder each day you are given. And this can come from something as simple as washing the right body parts every single day. Think of it this way. When you neglect your scalp, your mind feels heavy, itchy, or irritated, and your confidence suffers. But when you cleanse it, you feel clear, light, and refreshed, ready to think, ready to focus, ready to smile. When you neglect behind the ears, others may notice before you do. A faint odor, a small patch of irritation. But when you wash it, you carry yourself with quiet confidence. No shadows of embarrassment trailing you. When you neglect your underarms, sweat and bacteria become an invisible burden. But when you wash them, you walk into every room with freshness, with dignity, with health. When you neglect the groin, infections silently grow, itching steals your peace, discomfort clouds your mood. But when you wash it daily, you restore balance. Protect yourself from danger and keep your private health intact. When you neglect your feet, bacteria and fungi creep in. Circulation slows, pain grows, and walking becomes a chore. But when you wash them daily, you stimulate blood flow, prevent infections, reduce odor, and give yourself the gift of mobility. Now imagine yourself not just for one day, but for every day, repeating this simple ritual of washing these 5 areas. And then imagine what it does over months, over years, over decades. Each wash removes millions of bacteria that could have caused illness. Each massage improves circulation that keeps organs alive. Each act of cleansing preserves dignity and confidence that keeps you socially connected. And social connection, as science shows, is one of the strongest predictors of longevity. It is not only about what you clean, but also about how you clean. Use warm water, not too hot, not too cold, for comfort matters, and use a mild soap that protects the skin without stripping it. For skin in older age can be delicate, easily irritated, and it deserves gentle care. Wash slowly, not rushing, not treating it as a chore, but as a moment of connection with your body. For this body has carried you far, and it deserves to be treated with patience. Dry thoroughly, especially in the folds, behind the ears, under the arms, between the toes, for moisture left behind is a playground for bacteria and fungi. And if you add a moment of massage, whether on the scalp, the underarms, the groin, or the feet, you are not just washing, you are stimulating. You are improving blood flow. You are telling your body that it is alive, that it can heal, that it can continue. This is how small daily acts add up to long life. And as you listen to these words, I invite you to think of your loved ones too. For this advice is not only for you, but for those you care about, for the parents who once cared for you, for the grandparents who gave you wisdom, for the elderly neighbor who sits alone on their porch. Share this knowledge with them, for sometimes they may not realize that neglecting to wash these parts could be costing them their health, could be shortening their life, and with a gentle reminder, you might give them not only extra years, but also extra comfort in the years they already have. Picture the elderly man who has always worked with his hands, strong in youth but now fragile in age, who begins to wash his scalp daily, who feels lighter, who thinks clearer, who finds peace in this ritual. Or the elderly woman who quietly begins washing behind her ears every evening and feels her confidence return, knowing she is fresh, knowing she is dignified. Or the grandfather who begins to wash his underarms daily with more care, and suddenly his grandchildren run into his arms without hesitation because he is fresh and inviting. Or the grandmother who begins washing her groin with gentle respect and finds that the irritation she thought was just old age disappears, replaced with comfort and relief. Or the elderly couple who soak their feet together each night, massaging them gently, washing away the day, laughing as they share the ritual. And in that laughter, in that closeness, in that cleanliness, their hearts beat stronger. Their years grow longer. Longevity is not only about science, it is about spirit. And spirit is nourished when the body feels respected, when it feels cared for, when it feels loved. Washing these 5 areas daily is an act of love. Not only self-love, but love for those who share your life. For when you remain healthy, fresh, mobile, and confident, you are more present, more connected, more alive for them. And isn't that what we all want? Not just to live longer, but to live fully. To live with dignity, to live with joy, to live in a way that others feel blessed by our presence. Science tells us that the immune system is burdened when bacteria thrive on the skin, that infections are more common in neglected areas, that circulation slows when stimulation is absent, and that stress weakens the body when hygiene is poor. And yet wisdom tells us that the smallest daily rituals can reverse all of this. When you wash your scalp, you feed your mind. When you wash behind your ears, you protect your dignity. When you wash your underarms, you lift the burden of toxins. When you wash your groin, you preserve your health. When you wash your feet, you protect your mobility. Together, these 5 acts are a shield against time, a fountain of youth hidden not in secrets but in the sink, the shower, the basin, in the simple daily touch of water and soap. And so I say to you, do not underestimate this. Do not think it trivial. Do not think it too simple to matter. For life is made of simple things, and health is guarded by habits, and dignity is preserved by attention to details. Wash these 5 body parts daily, and you will find that you do not just live longer, you live better. And as we bring all these lessons together, let us reflect on the truth that life is not measured only in years, but in the quality of each day, in the comfort of each moment, in the peace of each night. And that quality is built through the little things we do faithfully, like washing the scalp, behind the ears, the underarms, the groin, and the feet. Each of these areas represents more than a patch of skin. They represent health, dignity, and connection. Think of the scalp. When cared for daily, it nourishes the mind, calms the spirit, and refreshes thought itself, because clarity comes more easily when the head feels light and clean. Think of the ears. When the hidden folds behind them are cleansed daily, dignity is restored, subtle odors vanish, and self-confidence blossoms. Think of the underarms. When thoroughly washed each day, the burden of bacteria is lifted, the immune system is freed from unnecessary struggle, and the body feels fresher, lighter, more resilient. Think of the groin. When cleansed respectfully and carefully each day, comfort is preserved, infections are prevented, and one of the most sensitive gateways to health is protected. And think of the feet. When washed and massaged daily, mobility is preserved, blood flows more freely, and independence remains intact.